Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring some products from Alex Syberia Designs, and this video is part of their YouTube video hop. While I was making my cards, I discovered completely accidentally, the most fun kind of subtle metallic shimmer with my BetterPress plates that involves no foil at all. So hang tight with me. So their new release is this beautiful Lush Peony Bouquet and the Floral Trio. I paired that with the classic Sentiments to make 3 cards for today. So this is the Lush Peony Bouquet. It is a nice size. This is an A2 size card. And so we call it blind because there's no ink. So I've blind embossed or pressed, blind better pressed plates before. But this one I was like, oh, I could mask the middle, and then that way I could have like a split design. So I would have part of the bouquet up top and part of the bouquet on the bottom. So I put some masking paper down, and then I am inking this up with some gold pigment ink. I am being super thorough. I ink my BetterPress plates up way longer than I ink my stamps. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip my paper over. Obviously, I've taped it down. I am working with watercolor paper today because it's nice and soft and can press really well, like cotton paper does. And I was thrilled with the way that this came out. And then I removed my tape, and perfect. It masked everything. The embossing or the pressing is still there, but the ink is not. And then I sprinkled on my embossing powder, and it's like the middle is there now. And I was like, what is happening? Why is that middle section there when it should not be there? So then I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to stick with my original game plan, right? So I'm like, let me get rid of this extra embossing powder, and then I'm going to take this is just a dry 1-inch brush, and I'm going to go right through that center and brush off as much of it as I could. But some of it was still like really settled into the nooks and crannies of the better pressing, and I was like, I can't get up, like I'm just going to have to go with that. Like maybe it won't be that noticeable. And so here I am heat setting my embossing powder. And the most wonderful thing happened, like when I was heat setting it. So the embossing powder that is in like the little nooks and crannies, looks like almost like when you look like at a rock in the sun where like you couldn't see like the little flecks of like gold or silver when you're just like looking at it straight on, but when the sun catches it you can. There's no way you're going to see this on camera. I want you to so badly, but I don't think that you're going to be able to see it. But in person, please try this. If you have BetterPress, please try this. Because it is so subtle and beautiful, and I love it so much. It's like little pieces of like gold that just barely catch the light. And so now here I am going to do my sentiments. These are the classic sentiments. I'm doing the same thing, same watercolor paper. Except this time I did use an anti-static tool. Last time I wasn't thinking about that for some reason, probably because I wasn't stamping. But anywho, so I inked that up with that same gold metallic ink. And now here you can see that when you ink this up, you can get a full, like a full regular embossing with the metallic. Is it as solid as the foil? Probably not. But is it pretty good? Yeah, it is. It's pretty good. I was happy with it. Plus, when you are pressing with the pigment ink dries so fast, guys. Way, way faster than when you are stamping with it. But anywho, let's talk giveaways before we continue on. So Alex Syberia Designs is giving away 3 $15 gift cards as you hop along the YouTube hop. Lots of really great inspiration on this hop. A lot of really talented designers. I'm super thrilled to be part of the hop with them. And then we also did an Instagram hop that was day before yesterday. And anyway, those are both still open for the entries. And they'll be open until May 20th. BST, and if you don't know what BST is, because I didn't, I had to look it up. It's British Summertime. Doesn't that sound fabulous? That just sounds like super extra fancy. I don't know why, but it does. So anywho, since I was very much loving the way that the card looked with like those little bits of gold in the nooks and crannies of that pressing, I went ahead and put my masking paper back on, and then I'm going to use the stencils. Both of these sets, the Lush Peony Bouquet and the Floral Trio, both of them have the press plates and the stencils that go with them. But then they also, the trio has dies. So I'm going to end up using all of them today. So here I really wanted something that was kind of like nice and subtle and pretty to go with this more subtle metallic vibe that I had going on. And so if you guys have watched my channel before, you know that I'm a huge fan of color theory. It's one of the easiest ways to step up your cards. And if you're interested more in that, I do have a course over on my website, and the bundle is still on sale. But anyway, so I went with analogous colors, and all that means is there's colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So I went with the kind of corally red, the orange, the yellow, and then the green. They're all right next to each other. I went with the softer shades, the saltwater taffy, scattered straw, and dried marigold for the base. And then for the detail layer, I went with a little bit bolder abandoned coral, spice marmalade, and mustard seed. For the centers, I also went in with the mustard seed, and then I added just a little bit of extra shading with the spiced marmalade. And then for the greens, I also kept these kind of a little bit more subdued. Normally I'm a bright color girly. I don't know if you've been here before, but I do love my bright colors. I went with bundled sage, and then I added a little bit of shading to those with peeled paint. That's what it was. And also something to know about these stencils, when you're looking at them, you might be like, oh, these aren't like perfectly exactly lined up. That is the style they are designed in. I think it's really kind of whimsical, and that's kind of fun. That is only the case for the peonies. The stencils for the floral trio line up perfectly. There is no gap. I think it's fun and a little bit whimsical. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you think. So then here, that's the whole piece completed. And this is how it would look if I didn't have that masking in the middle. But since I do have that masking in the middle, I can go ahead and remove that. I trimmed down the card. I think this is going to be like a really pretty like wedding card. So I trimmed this down just 1/8 of an inch on each side. And then I'm going to put it, I had this A2 size of brushed gold metallic cardstock already cut in my stash, and then I just cut 2 like 1/8 of an inch strips of that same gold, and I'm going to use it to like block off, like frame it out, and then that celebrate will go in the middle. You didn't see me glue that together because I've been burning the midnight oil lately. I've been burning the midnight oil lately, and so it was like late when I realized the Instagram hop was the next day. Like I had intentions of putting the card up or whatever, but I hadn't glued it together yet, and so I needed to do that. That's why you didn't see me glue it together, because I was haphazardly doing it in the middle of the night. So here now, I really love the way that it looks, so I tried to recreate it. So I did the blind better pressing on the same watercolor paper, and as you can see, it is not working. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why is it not working? It's the masking paper, y'all. I noticed that it was sticking to the part where I had the low tack tape. So that's the trick without any adhesive or any ink or anything like that with the blind pressing, is it presses the low tack adhesive that is on the masking paper into the like cotton paper, or in my case, watercolor paper. And that is what the embossing powder is sticking to. Isn't that like, this is why experimenting is so important. So anyway, this is the same Lush Peony. I did it on the top and the bottom. And now I'm going to go ahead and peel off my masking paper. So you can see, like, it's totally, there's no ink, there's no nothing. And then when we go in and put on the gold embossing powder, then you'll be able to see how it sticks pretty well. I will say it sticks better in the places that had more pressure. So like in the middle there, it is better. And then I went in and just kind of dusted it a little bit. I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle. I didn't want it to be like in your face, like embossed. So I did brush some of it off, so I could get that kind of gold flecked look. And this one is so great. Like when it catches the light, I know you probably can't even see it. It makes me so sad. But when it catches the light, it looks like it's like speckled with gold. Like gold is like woven throughout the flowers. And then I did the stencil same as I did before. Now you might notice that the colors here do look a little bit more vibrant than in the first card. And that is because the gold pigment ink that was on the top of the masking paper was not dry, so I did pick up some of that as I was ink blending. Not enough for it to be like to bothersome, but it does kind of like knock it back a little bit. Just, full disclosure. And so I did these the exact same way. I like to leave in the whole process. I totally get if you're like, Kelly, I've seen this already. I don't care. It's fine. Skip ahead. You won't hurt my feelings. So anyway, speaking of burning the midnight oil, look at how pretty it is. It's so pretty. I'm going to trim this one down slightly too. And then now we're on to, this is the trio, and this is the one, so I'm not using gold. I am using a clear embossing ink. And I really honestly, I'm going to do the blind embossing again, but this time I'm pressing with ink to help it kind of stick without the masking paper. So if you don't have masking paper, this is another way that you could do it and get it with no foil. And it works really, really well. You can see right there. It totally works great. But I actually really like it with no embossing powder because the watermark ink gives the paper like a slightly darker tone and it looks great. So if you're looking for a subtle look, something to just be aware of. Here, because I had a lot of gold going on, I did brush it off again with a brush. I liked the centers being gold, so I did go back in and put those in and kind of like flick off the excess, and then I heat set it, and then I'm going to go back in and do the other corner in the same exact way before we move on to the ink blending, stenciling. So anyway, speaking of burning the midnight oil, so none of this would have even happened if I would have been able to find the cord to my glimmer machine. So originally that was my game plan, was to do the glimmer machine and do like the foil hot press. Yeah, hot foil press. You know what I'm saying. I was going to heat it up, y'all, and I was going to put foil on it. That's what I'm telling you. And I looked everywhere and I cannot find my cord. It's been a really long time since I have glimmer foiled anything. So I had gone through, I'd picked out all my foil colors. I was like, I have a whole idea in my head. It was not this color scheme, by the way. And then I could not find my cord, but because I was already like making in the wee hours, like it was already like 1 o'clock in the morning. Because now I've always been a night owl. I get it from my mom. Always been a night owl and worked night shift for a long time. But like right now in the season of life that we're in, my husband takes my daughter in the morning and then I always pick her up. We have one day where we like switch off. And it's just because it's easier for me to get up with her at night than it is for him, because I can take a nap during the day if I need to, because I work for myself. So anyway, and she, I don't want to jinx it. I'm not even going to say it. You know what I'm saying. If you are a parent, you've had to get up in the middle of the night. It is what it is. So now I'm working like in the middle of the night. Like that's when I'm working and doing stuff. So it is definitely different. And so because of that, I had to just I was like, well, I just have to go with it. Like, how else can I make it metallic? Well, embossing powder. So that's how I ended up with it. I still do want to try them with the glimmer machine when I have more time to find my power cord. I truly don't have no idea where it is. So I told you that the Floral Trio also has dies. That is what these are. So I've die cut them out of white. This is just regular white cardstock, and I'm adding the same shading like with the same inks. I'm just using the sticky mat to hold those in place to add the inking shading to. I really like this color scheme. I am a corally girly. Like, I do love a coral. To wear it, to design with it. I do. It was one of my wedding colors. My wedding colors were coral and navy. I do love me a coral. I'll skip a red though. Isn't it funny how you can just go like one notch over within the color family? And I'm like, nah, pass. I'm good. So anyway, here I'm doing the same thing. I'm just adding them kind of a little bit randomly so that I still have the same color variation. And then you probably would have noticed with the stencil, it has like the two different layers. One layer I did the soft and one layer I did the little bit of the darker ones. For these ones, I did it all soft, but then in the center, I'm going to go back with the abandoned coral and just do the center of that. Here, look at that. Look at that glue. This is a free trick for you. If you have glue that comes out, an exorbitant amount of glue, just dip your other die cuts into it. So that way... that way you don't waste your glue and have this like enormous blob. So that's what I did. I just dipped all my pieces in there and then that's how I glued them together. So here I've chosen the Big Hugs sentiment. All of these are from that classic sentiment. And I still have, 1, 2, 3. I still have 4 left over that I'll just be able to put back into the container, like that I keep the BetterPress plate in. I'll just be able to put it back in there. And so here I did 3 of those flowers and I'm adding them right over top. So I'm lifting up one layer, like I glued down one layer and then I'm lifting up the other layer to help give them a lot more movement. I am putting this down on a green, I trimmed it down and then I put it down on a green A2 piece so we'll have a little bit of a frame. And then I'm going to go in and tuck in my little leaves behind. I feel like this gives a ton of really interesting dimension. We have the gold, like the more subtle gold shimmer. This is a little less subtle, truthfully, because I really like the gold centers. But then, you have the die cuts on top, and I was very careful to make sure that I reserved that white space, that I didn't lose it so that it wasn't too bulky. And then I'm going to tuck these little leaves behind. I chose to do the 3 so that they would accent my sentiment really nicely. Because I have the die cuts, I chose to do the sentiment popped up. I used some foam tape to pop that up, and then I liked that so well, I chose to do it on the second card as well. The Celebrate got glued down flat because, as previously stated, it was in the wee hours when I was like, girl, you better get it together. You better get it together. So that one went down, and then I did use a gold Wink of Stella to add a little bit of shine to the center of the flowers. In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have went back and did the gold embossing so that it was all matchy-matchy, but it's not bad. I mean, I don't hate it. So then here with thank you, I popped this up on foam. I'm just going to let the background do its job. Like it's the best. And then I chose like these light kind of peachy sticker rhinestones to accent my sentiments. And then I did go in with a clear Wink of Stella, and you want to make sure you're moving in the direction of the petal or the leaf or whatever, because these can reactivate those distress inks, but adding the shimmer was so worth it. So I hope this inspires you to kind of play around. I hope that you try this technique. I'm telling you, the camera does not do it justice. It is so beautiful in real life. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Don't forget to continue on down the hop. The links are below, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.